I had an arrangement with Stan Lee to produce one or two teenage comic books a month. And it worked successfully for a number of years. And as I mentioned before, Stan Lee and I got along together because we respected each other. And I think that's a key thing in collaboration of any sort is mutual respect. You can't satisfy somebody who you don't like or they don't like you. You have to respect each other. And I think Stan Lee and I had that feeling about each other. Well, I was working on this Patsy Walker comic book, and in order to deliver it the next day, which was when it was due, I had to work till about 3 in the morning in my house in Babylon, Long Island, and then at 8 o'clock in the morning drive into New York, half asleep, and deliver it on time. And one of the things that there was between Stan and me was kidding around, but Stan Lee did that with most of the people. I think, especially with people that he knew he could kid around with. And so in my groggy state, I handed him this whole Patsy Walker comic book. And he made a joke. He says, well, all right, what kind of garbage did you bring today? You know. And I just wasn't, I think I was, I have to put into it another facet. Harvey Kurtzman had called me up a month earlier and asked me if I would join in the creation of a magazine for Hugh Hefner of Playboy called Trump. And I rejected it. I said, I have a whole business with Stan Lee, and I'm not going to throw that away. I can't afford to. Because the Trump magazine, as it turned out, only had 2 issues anyway, and then it was out of business. So my choice was okay. But when Stan hit me with the joke at the wrong time, and the next thing he did, he says, Al, you're going to have to look to your laurels. And he pulled out a page, and it was a page of Patsy Walker submitted by somebody who was looking for work and showed that he could do Patsy Walker. It was beautifully done. And Stan said, you better look to your laurels. Look what came in over the transom. So I said, Stan, that is very, very good work. And actually, it was much better than my teenage drawings because it was a man who knew how to draw girls beautifully. Mine were more on the humor side rather than the sexy side, but his were sexy. And so I said, okay, Stan, you're right. And I left. Stan was kind of open mouthed. By the time I returned home, my wife at the time said, Stan has called about 5 times. So I called him back, and he said I was kidding, Al. And I explained to him that I was very tired, but I also said, I think I've done Patsy Walker for 5 or 6 years now, and I don't have anything more to give to it. So maybe it's just as well that you switch it to this other guy, and we'll remain friends. And that's how that turned out. So I went with Harvey Kurtzman. Oh no, I called Harvey Kurtzman. Your question was making a change in your life that didn't turn out. I called Harvey and I said, "Okay, Harvey, I'm coming with Mad." He wanted to hire me for Mad magazine, but that was a month earlier. So I said, "I'm coming to work for you at Mad." And he said, "I just quit Mad." But then he said, "Not to worry, I've got Hefner of Playboy, who's backing a magazine called Trump, and I'm going to get you hired as an associate editor and artist." And so it almost was a disaster for me, but there was a little bit of an ace in the hole, and however, the Trump magazine collapsed after 2 issues, and the only thing we could do after that was Harvey came up with the idea of a self-financed magazine called Humbug, in which we all put in whatever savings we had, which is another disaster because I borrowed on my insurance. My friend Arnie Roth went to Paul Desmond, a musician, a friend of his, and borrowed $5,000. So we all put our money into it, and that lasted 11 months, but that failed also. And however, in your original question you asked, you made a decision that turned out badly and then reversed itself, I think. At that point, I was high and dry. No prospects, no income, a house mortgage, a full catastrophe. And I called up fellow music and artist Al Feldstein, who was now the editor of Mad, because Harvey had left a long time ago. And I said, "Al, I don't know if you're going to hang up on me because I'm from the enemy camp, but I have 6 scripts I wrote for Humbug magazine that I can't use anymore because, as you know, we folded." And all he said was, "Come on down." And he took me into Bill Gaines's office, and Bill Gaines said to me, he brought out all of the humbugs. He said, "Just point to the ones that was to what was yours." After I pointed to all the articles that I either wrote or illustrated or did both, Bill turned to Feldstein and says, "Hire this guy."